Welcome to Rewatch-and-Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other. And today's episode is Naruto Prologue Dash Land of Waves arc, episode 14. The number one hyperactive knuckle-headed ninja joins the fight. Episode in a nutshell is a brief reminder of what happens in the episode. So after about 8 minutes of recapping what happened in the last episode, we eventually get to Naruto's grand entrance, in which case he does not receive the reaction he was expecting because all the other ninjas there are kind of pointing out the fact that as a ninja, you're supposed to be stealthy and not just like fully announce your arrival. And he's a little bit flabbergasted that, after going through the trouble of coming to rescue them, nobody's grateful for it. Haku, of course, recognizes Naruto from their little conversation in the woods, so he exits his jutsu briefly to have a conversation with Naruto. But then Sasuke tries to sneak attack him, so he decides to finish things with Sasuke first and returns to attacking Sasuke. Sasuke, of course, racks his brain on how they could possibly get out of this, and he comes up with the idea that, Naruto can attack from outside. Well, he attacks inside, and maybe that'll break it, except Naruto has decided to be stealthy and surprise Sasuke, who is inside of the jutsu, by joining him inside the jutsu, which means that that plan's no longer there. So Sasuke instead tries blowing fire, but his fire isn't hot enough to melt Haku's ice, and so that fails. Naruto then tries, of course, all of his clones, and that fails because they basically are standing still while Haku's moving around attacking them and manages to destroy them all. And Haku has a flashback to his first meeting with Zabuza, and they discuss their dreams and how it's going to be a battle of the dreams. Haku's dream is to be Zabuza's tool and help him achieve whatever he wants. And Naruto, of course, wants to be Hokage, wants to save Sasuke, etc. And so, Battle of the Dreams begins, and Naruto and Sasuke are at this point greatly disadvantaged by the time the episode ends, while Haku is, of course, attacking them. But this episode was basically Naruto's arrival, getting trapped with Sasuke, and a little bit of a flashback, and then the fight continuing. So now that we've been reminded what happened in this episode, it is now time to rank the episode. First on the mostly objective ranking list, followed by the personal ranking list. And there weren't any new skills or powers revealed within this episode. So the only thing that really was not just them fighting back and forth with existing techniques we already know about, was that little bit of a flashback to Haku and Zabuza's first meeting, which was worth 2 points. But I did take 1 point because for setup or recap episode, the recap took up 8 minutes. The episodes are basically about like 20 minutes of actual like we cut out, of course, the credits and the opening theme. So once you get down to like what the actual episode is, it's about 20 minutes. They took up 8 of them telling, like, basically redoing half of the last episode, which was, in my opinion, way too excessive and enough that I felt this minus point applied, which did ultimately leave us with a 1 out of 10 for this episode. And that brings our mostly objective ranking list to: in first enter Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke and Sakura, friends or foes. You failed Kakashi's final decision, a dangerous mission, Journey to the Land of Waves. The Assassin of the Mist, The Oath of Pain, Kakashi, Sharingan Warrior. My name is Konohamaru, The Forest of Chakra. Pass or fail, Survival Test. Battle on the Bridge, Zabuza Returns. Haku's Secret Jutsu, Demonic Mirroring Ice Crystals. And then the land where a hero once lived, and this episode, because it is a 1, and when more than one episode has the same score we rank in episode order, it is currently in last place. The number 1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja joins the fight. My personal ranking for this episode is more forgiving. Fact is, I took a lot of points because recaps never really do it for me. Even if there was, like, in theory, a week between the last episode and this episode, which is how I'm watching it right now. I'm watching one episode each week. I don't feel that's enough time for me to completely have forgotten. And while I understand reminding people of where the last episode left off, 8 minutes is way too excessive. Like, way too excessive for the recap. Like, even 5 minutes I find to be a little bit excessive. To me, it should be like maybe the 2 or 3 last minutes of the last episode to remind us kind of where we left off and then continue on in the episode. I think that makes more sense. But I really genuinely did not need 8 minutes of recap. And so that did negatively color the episode from the start of the episode, because obviously the recap was at the start of the episode. However, I did find that I laughed, like a verbally out loud laugh, not just like a minor chuckle or an internal amusement, but an actual laugh at several points during this episode. Um, so in that sense, the entertainment value was definitely there. Obviously, it was engaging. There was a fight. Similar to the last episode, my one critique, which unfortunately is pretty common with anime fights, is that there was a lot of unrealistic standing around and talking within the battle. Like they do a couple moves, then they stand and talk, maybe a flashback. And like the audience, Zabuza's there, like with Kakashi, they're standing there like besties, gossiping about this fight that their kids are having, and it's that's amusing in its own way, but also like in reality, if this was real, which obviously it's not, it's fiction, but if it was real, if you wanted to add that element of realism to it, there's no way that the main fighters, the two adults, are going to just be standing around gossiping about their kids' fight. They're going to be fighting too. And realistically, they're not going to be talking in the middle of their fight. They're going to be fighting until somebody is dead. Um, so keeping in mind that it is a kids show, and of course, a lot of the talking has to do with character development, exposition, things like that. I do forgive a certain level of talking, and I understand that that is kind of common throughout all anime, so it's not really unique to this particular anime. Therefore, I don't really take a lot of points for it, though I will comment on it. But more so, it's like I said, the standing around gossiping instead of having your own fight. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, the weakest person is guarding the target of these evil people. Um, Naruto's Naruto. He's not making the best decisions yet. One day he will, but right now, not so much. And, this episode is kind of Naruto's joining the fight. So, like I said, they didn't introduce any new attacks. They're using their existing attacks against Haku for now, and Haku is using the same attack that he revealed in the last episode. So there is nothing necessarily new, but it is still entertaining because it is a fight and it is helping us to see kind of how the jutsu that Haku is using works. We also again got the character development, the first meeting between Zabuza and Haku. Last episode we saw the flashback to Haku being a street kid, stealing food from starving dogs because he needed it himself. And now he's like, this episode, he's hugging his knees, curled up on a bridge, and there goes Zabuza, and he's like, I see talent in you, follow me. Be my weapon. And Haku, of course, agrees to do so. So I found value in the episode, entertainment value, some character development, even just like how ridiculous it is that Zabuza and Kakashi are basically standing around gossiping about their kids' fight instead of fighting themselves. is also kind of amusing, just like the image of it, or maybe the way I'm positioning it in my mind just makes that a little bit amusing. But the lack of realism does sting a little bit, and again, no new attacks. So I decided to give it a 5 out of 10 ultimately. And with the 5 out of 10, that brings the personal ranking to in first, The Oath of Pain, A Dangerous Mission, Journey to the Land of Waves. My name is Konohamaru, The Assassin of the Mist, Pass or Fail Survival Test, Enter Naruto Uzumaki, You Failed Kakashi's Final Decision, Sasuke and Sakura Friends or Foes, and Kakashi Sharingan Warrior. I put this episode in 10th place. The number 1 hyperactive knucklehead ninja joins the fight. 11, Haku's secret jutsu, demonic mirroring ice crystals. Battle on the bridge, Zabuza returns. The Forest of Chakra, and then in last place for me so far is The Land Where a Hero Once Lived. And that brings us now to the series ranking so far. On our mostly objective ranking, we're at 104 out of a possible 190. And then on the personal ranking, we are at 78 out of a possible 190. With that, we have now rewatched and ranked Naruto Prologue Land of Waves Arc Episode 14, The Number 1 Hyperactive Knucklehead Ninja Joins the Fight. Like and subscribe if you would like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.